Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Damon yet again, and yeah, I'm with this video will be about Rebooking SummerSlam 2007. And what's important in the story is I remember back in the day, summer 2007. Basically, what was up for the news in there? Not just wrestling wise. I'm going to introduce to you basically what was in terms of pop culture, in terms of movies. I do remember in terms of TV, you had the finale of Sopranos. Damn good show. I remember watching it the finally and watch it live, and I thought that my TV went off. I thought that the cable was off, and basically I wondered like for an hour. Basically, I thought maybe they just got this. Basically, I know there was a credits scenes afterwards, the credits, and I thought, oh boy, maybe a scene was skipped. Maybe, oh no, what happened? And then found out later through research that basically, no, it was the ending. So it's like at first, it's a story of an ending I didn't like at first, but more and more I watched it, the more and more I appreciated it. It made sense for the whole story to end like this. Now, I was introduced to How I Met Your Mother. I binge watched the first two seasons, and I still maintain those are the two best seasons. Period. Maybe the third season not as good, but still good. But I think it's a show that went downwards in terms of quality. And the ending, this is a show that should have ended one season early. This is one of the worst ending to a show ever. So, in terms of TV shows, what else was there? That's basically what I mostly watch on TV. In terms of movies, there was Spider-Man 3. I went to see the movie theaters twice. One my girlfriend at the time, one by myself. And despite what people say right now, that basically the revision story, I like the movie. I just didn't love it as much as Spider-Man 2. Again, there's a peak in the second chapter. That was the same thing here. I really loved Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3, I felt was too much of too many subjects. Relationship with MJ goes haywire. You have Gwen Stacy basically shoving the story for no reason, where she barely played a role. Venom, if anything was just shoved there, Venom was shoved in the story. And Topher Grace, who I love as an actor, he's way underrated. And I love him as Eric Foreman in that 70s shows. But him being cast as Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3 pretty much ended 70s show, or at least started being the beginning of the end of that 70s show. In the last season of that 70s show that went up, that basically was the year before, felt like if the main season 1 to 7 felt like a movie, there was a movie theater. The last season felt like a straight to DVD equivalent. But him as Venom did not make sense to me. I like the Sandman. I really love the score by Danny Elfman, especially when he becomes the Sandman. Uh, I feel like the ending ended abruptly, and I thought that could have used a bit more story, like a third one, a fourth one. Though I love J.K. Simmons as J.J. Jameson, Elizabeth Banks was good. The other girl that basically was living in the same apartment building as Peter Parker was awesome. Tobey Maguire was awesome too as Peter Parker, and James Franco knows how to play a scumbag well. Well, looks like it wasn't just acting skills, but whatever. I digress. I find out that year had a lot of bangers. Like Sheamus would say, banger after banger after banger. That summer had Spider-Man 3, Wet Hot Fuzz, which we don't talk enough about because it's a damn good comedy. I love that one, especially the Romeo and Juliet theater play, which was one of the worst acting ever, which was basically part of the joke. I mean, it wasn't a summer. There was Grindhouse, there was Knocked Up, super bad comedies. Oh, comedies, where are you today? We need those. Uh. Harry Potter, The Order of the Phoenix, Ratatouille, and let's not forget the Simpsons movie, Spider Pig, Spider Pig. Nobody would know that impact of Spider Pig and pop culture there. But I digress. Now we go to terms of wrestling. I mean, Bobby Lashley left WWE, and that would be reflected in my booking because I can't book him if he just left WWE. I mean, John Cena was WWE champion. Shawn Michaels should have won the WWE title, as I mentioned when I rebooking WrestleMania 23. Even if it's like for WrestleMania till Backlash, didn't. Then he was sidelined. I think he lost to Randy Orton and then was sidelined by the Great Khali, something like that. And I thought it was BS. You had basically Kate and Murdoch pretend to be babyface to lure the Hardys in for like a seventh match, in which case they actually won the World Tag Team titles. This, you could have basically done the Sami Zayn storyline to them. and basically call them why they get a seventh World Tag Team title shot out of nowhere. The world's greatest tag team reunited to few fanfare. The ECW title situation was problematic, to say the least, due to real life circumstances. Mr. McMahon's demise angle, I felt like should have never happened, should have been ignored. I feel like Vince McMahon's in storyline should have ended there. Maybe returning in 2010 for Bret Hart, and that's it. Like it was overdone. It didn't mean anything that people were beating up McMahon. It just became sad. Uh, Lundgren, Paul London, Brian Kendrick lost the tag titles to Deuce and Domino. I thought that was sad too. Like people have revisionist history and having nostalgia at the period, but you weren't from world title, from Undertaker and Batista, their awesome feud, to Edge cashing in, to the Great Khali. I love the Great Khali, especially in 2007, who was Mr. Unpredictable on the mic, but come on. Anyway, and yeah, that's what I would do here. Uh, the women's title scene, I was happy Candice Michelle Women's champion. Uh, what else? Yeah, and that I think yeah, IC title. I felt like Umaga was carrying a title that he regained it from Santino when he didn't have to. So all in all, what would be Damon's way of booking SummerSlam? Well, first of all, I'll tell you the lead up to it. Jeff Hardy, Santino Marella would not lose the title back to Umaga. Santino would lose it to Mr. Kennedy. Kennedy. So I felt that could have basically been done because hey, he didn't win the Money in the Bank. At least give him consolation prize. Well, you make one Money in the Bank, lost the cash, lost the briefcase. You could give him consolation prize with the IC title. Why not? US title. I know MVP was injured, so this is why I say for a short time you could have basically MVP vacate the title, and it's between Matt Hardy and Finlay, since they were basically the final six members of the Battle Royal to declare a new World Heavyweight Champion. I would have the same Battle Royal that happened in real life. However, I would have Batista and Kane team up to eliminate Great Khali, and then as Batista, basically Batista's hanging on. Great Khali is hanging on to Batista's hair, and basically Kane eliminates Batista, and Kane wins the World Heavyweight title. So you will go. Basically, that would be what has changed. You would have John Morrison as ECW champion. You, the women's champion, with Candice Michelle, and yeah, I would have the world's greatest tag team be traded back to SmackDown as babyface. So how would I book SummerSlam? First of all, FY, I would also make sure that the US and Cruiserweight title are unified together. So that's why basically it will be what it'll be. So first off, I would start off the crowd, the event basically with the World Tag Team titles on line with Kate and Murdoch defending World Tag Team titles against Paul London and Brian Kendrick against Crime Time. I think it's about time that Crime Time won the World Tag Team titles, and why not? They could lose it back at Unforgiven. Who cares? Then, you know, we could still have Kate and Murdoch. Basically, I could have basically Brian Kendrick and Paul London win the World Tag Team titles like from September to October, and that's fine. Then afterwards, for the vacant US title, you can have Matt Hardy and unify the US and Cruiserweight title. Matt Hardy versus Gregory Helms or Chavo Guerrero against Finlay. You can have Matt Hardy win the US Cruiserweight title unified, and he keeps his friendly rivalry at the time with MVP alive. For the WWE Tag Team titles, the SmackDown Tag Team titles, you have Deuce and Domino. I know I don't like it, but whatever. Defend against World Greatest Tag Team. Have the World's Greatest Tag Team win the Tag Team titles at the event. Then I would have Umaga take on Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O. And this match would just be for my entertainment there, because honestly, I want Umaga to squash them in like 5-6 minutes and be done with it. Then the fifth match of the night for the Intercontinental title, you have Mr. Kennedy against Jeff Hardy. And since Jeff Hardy would have returned just from suspension, I would have given the IC title back to him. I would have Mr. Kennedy defend successfully and win with his Pittsburgh plunge, or maybe the mic check, 1, 2, 3, after like 12 minutes. Then for the women's heavyweight title, sorry, the women's title, you would have Candice Michelle successfully defend the title against Melina. 8-minute match and should be fine. Then for the ECWA title, you have John Morrison versus CM Punk. CM Punk fell twice already. It's a match that it's basically make or break. If he loses, he's no longer allowed to ever challenge for the ECW title. And this is where CM Punk wins it and wins the ECW title. They had a rematch the next show in Sci-Fi. So why not give it the title right then and there? Then the two returning face of WWE, Triple H and Rey Mysterio, team up against King Booker, who's been touting Triple H, and Carlito, who's been touting Rey Mysterio. So I feel like you got have Triple H and Rey Mysterio both win, and you have Rey Mysterio in the 619 to Carlito, turns around to Triple H, giving the pedigree. He then does Spinebuster to Booker T, and Rey Mysterio follows up with his frog splash, 1, 2, 3. Then in the penultimate match, you have Kane defend the World Heavyweight title against Batista and Great Khali. Basically it's an 8-man match, wouldn't be too long. So you have Kane and Batista team up against Great Khali for a long time period of the match. Basically, Kane and Batista deliver a double team. They basically put him up on the second rope and do a double assist powerbomb choke slam. But as Batista tries to cover him, Kane basically boots him in the face and Kane retains. Underwhelming, but whatever. And the main event, you have John Cena versus Randy Orton. And I was tempted to have Randy Orton win, but I still maintain having a 1 year title reign for John Cena was necessary. So you can have John Cena win to keep the the W title after a 22-minute match, and you keep the W title and goes on to lose it at Unforgiven because you still need to plan for some title change later on that year. So that will be my SummerSlam 2007. Let me know what you think in comments down below. See you guys later. Peace.